Good morning. Welcome back to the channel. Hey, just want to talk a little bit about tunes, just briefly. It kind of goes along with you need to plan what you want to do with the car. I know some people do like a stage 2 and then they decide they want more, and that's what I did. I started out with stage 2, just pump gas, and then I went to a E70 mix because we didn't have injectors yet, and then I went to a E85 with pump and injectors. So it was a learning experience, of course, and I don't regret it. I'm just letting you know that it's good to plan what you want to do with the car before you proceed. So I'll give you an example. I was probably an pretty early adopter on the platform, on the Audi TT RS platform and RS3 platform, the 5-cylinder. So I started out, like I said, with a stage 2 93. It's actually supposed to be a stage 2 91, but they didn't have a 91, so to get 93 we'd have to either add octane booster or add some E85 into it. So just as an example, that's what I started out with, and then moved up through there. And then every time I wanted a little bit more power, so I kept measuring my results based on my half miles. My stock times were like 136 or 137 maybe, I don't remember, something like that. And then with the pump tune, it was I think it was about 143. That was just the pump. And then E85 tune, it went to, with no intake, stock wheels, it went to 159 miles per hour. And then I wanted more, so I went to a hybrid. First I went to a pure turbo, pure 700, and did a 173 best time on that. First time was 169. That was with a cut intake, and then went back again a couple weeks later with APR intake. Well, actually no, that was a homemade intake, and I did a 173 with light wheels. So it kept changing, right? So I think you need to decide what you want to do, because that's all costs money. Because then I moved from the pure 700 to a turbo put together by Pure. It was a GTX 3582 in a hybrid frame, or stock frame, so I made a hybrid turbo, and I made 770 wheel horsepower with that on a Dynojet, which was about another 120 horsepower than I had with the Pure 700, which was more than the stock stock turbo, of course. Stock turbo was around, with E85 and that tune we had, those tunes that we were running, it was running right around, I didn't have an intake, so it was running for me probably about 480 wheel, and I kept going up, right? So there's just some examples of what happens. I kept wanting more, but I think you need to decide what you want to do with the car. Sure, you can keep spending money on turbos and tunes. You could keep doing that over and over again. A car build is never done, I guess, right? Or if you don't want to keep spending money on turbos and tunes, you could decide what you want. So for instance, if you want to do half-mile racing, you go with big turbo right away. If you want to do road course racing, then perhaps you just do intercooler, maybe a tune, and leave it at that. So these are just some things to think about, because if you don't, for instance, I spent money on both turbo upgrades, and now I'm going with the big turbo because I still want more, right? So if I would have thought about it beforehand and planned it out, I would have just gone straight with the big turbo, and I would have been happy with that. I would have put down my max effort, and I wouldn't have spent money on 2 different turbo upgrades, tune differences. I mean, you got to pay for tunes that are changed, right? So these are all things to think about and consider when you're building a car. I mean, I like my car, right? It's not like I don't like it. I'm having fun with it. I had fun with the different variations. I've had fun with the learning process. Building the engine was fun. It's all been a good time. It's not been, I wouldn't look at it as wasted money for me, because it's been about the experience for me. Being an early adopter, we've had to learn things. We've learned that the engine rods are not so strong as people think. We've learned axles brake at a certain power level. All these different things we've learned along the way, and that's part of being the early adopter. You are learning, and maybe you pay the price. But if you look at it as an experience, then it's okay. If you're looking at just to have a car that you can daily and have a good time with, then you should probably think about it. Maybe not be an early adopter. Maybe you plan it out and work on it and wait for other people to do the testing. And then you come back and say, hey, I want a big turbo car, and I want this and this and this on it. And you can plan out your build right away that way. That's up to you, I guess. But if you don't want to spend money needlessly, like, keep on doing different things, if that's your way of doing it, then you should probably wait, see what other people do, let other people test, and then you decide where to go from there. Just some thoughts about tunes. Like I said, if you tune, you continue to tune different things, you're going to pay more money for tune updates and changes to the tune. And if they're customized tunes, it's not necessarily that cheap. We have new stuff like Dyno Spectrum 1 now, which allows for you to have different tuners and opens up the door a lot for tuners, and they might charge different amounts than a customized tune for an ECU used to be. So I haven't actually researched that. However, that's just something to think about. I am probably going to be moving to a Dyno Spectrum 1, but haven't gotten there yet. I still have to get my big turbo on. So anyways, these are just things to think about when you're tuning and when you're upgrading your car, and kind of decide and plan it out. I've talked about this before, about planning out your build, but the more I'm in it, the more I realize how important that is. Unless you want to continue to do better and keep on improving it, that's one way to do it. But again, if I had decided what I wanted to do right away, roll racing or half-mile racing, I would have just gone straight big turbo, and I would have been done. Nothing else would have had to be done to the car. I would have been driving it right now. And I am going to drive it. I do drive a little bit, but not very much, because I need a turbo. So anyway, just things to think about. And if you're talking about turbos and tunes, it's good to plan out your build beforehand and try it out, and then figure it out from there. Anyways, I hope that helps. If you have questions, just give me a call or drop me a line. Happy to help. And some of you have my number, of course. If you want some information, I'm happy to help. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a great day.